as you know, as I've been crying on the show constantly. But here he is, the voice of your San Francisco 49ers. And boy, do I have a lot of surprises for him today that he has no idea about. But there he is. Oh, very nice. He goes with the Super Papa. Very, very nice.
And you know what this stands for? You know what this stands for? You know what that's for?
Yeah, I do know that ad.
The machine.
Oh, you have started out
Matt
strong.
was good back in the day, but Matt Barnes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Not had a dry January.
Yes.
He's the great age.
Oh, that is beautiful. That is beautiful.
I love your sappy intro about missing me.
Every
time I send you a text, John has silenced notifications, and nothing is ever unsilenced. I do have a word for you.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you explain this picture to me?
That was early in the process. That might have been my fifth show or something like that. And I asked AI, I said, make me a picture of 49ers play-by-play voice, Greg Papa. I mean, nailed it. Did that thing nail it, or did it nail it?
So my attorneys reached out to me right away. They thought, is he allowed to do this? And then I thought, what?
No.
This image, which I don't know who this person is, he's never looked better. He's got a gold jacket on like he's going to the Hall of Fame. And look at the hair.
The hair is on point.
Perfect hair. And I've even got a headset on. You know how hard it is to combine headset and hair because you get headset head? I love this.
No,
this
that was
on my holiday card next year. I thank you for that.
That was the best one. I don't do as much AI anymore, but that was the best AI by a mile. I mean, that thing was just like, woo! That was amazing.
Can you send me 24 of those, please?
Oh yeah, I can do that. I've got that thing down. Where'd you get that cup? I've never seen that cup before. Is that new?
My new partner.
Cup?
My new partner gives me lavish gifts.
Oh, he lavishes you? Does he lavish you with gifts?
All John ever brought me was booze.
I do have booze. It is a tradition that I do Bailey's on Friday, so we do that. I'm telling you, you are going to love this. So what I tried to do, hope you can see the screen, right? Because I put all these pictures together.
I see it.
I put all these pictures together, and for some reason, the only Super Bowl I couldn't find because I hoard nothing, but I hoard pictures. So
this was like the end of Hangover 1.
Yeah.
You and I were flying back from all the destinations of the Super Bowl. We looked at all the pictures, and you promised to delete.
Well, I deleted them.
I don't want any of these shown.
Okay. For the most part, there is nothing here, and I double checked this. There is nothing here that is going to incriminate either of us. But my thought is that the statute of limitations is probably up. But I couldn't find the one thing is because it's in New Orleans next week, and I do feel naked and cry because I think you and I have probably been to. I mean, we've been to what? 15 of the last 16 or something, Super Bowl, something like that.
So that was Super Bowl 47, and they're
playing in New Orleans.
59 a week from Sunday. So
yeah,
I think I may have missed one. I don't know, but we've been to
not many.
Without a doubt, the New Orleans one, which started it off, was the most epic. We went to Pat O'Brien's, and I got there before you. I met Cordell Stewart and all the wives.
I forgot about Cordell Stewart.
Desperate
Real Housewives of Atlanta, and he had gotten divorced from her or something. All I know is you got there first, and hurricanes were flowing, and it was just pure debauchery. I told the story yesterday that the only good that Bucher ever did was he bought us dinner one time and made the mistake that halfway through dinner, he said, I'm buying dinner. And when you buy dinner for people, you tell them at the end. You don't tell them in the middle.
It was over.
And then he went and got suits, remember? He's like, well, I'm leaving because I'm having suits done. We're like, we're in New Orleans. Are you insane?
And I do want to see these pictures. I don't know if you have any from New Orleans, but, I mean, the epic New Orleans night was when we went for absinthe at 4:30 in the morning. The dirty water. I got a receipt to show us buying 3 shots of absinthe.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
The girl's like, what do you want? We were out with Townie. And then the classic, don't frown.
Brown. I was even looking for don't frown on the brown, and I couldn't even find that picture. I don't know where the New Orleans.
Do we use our cell phones like cameras back
then?
Right.
Not quite as much. Yeah. But I do know that you're right. On the plane ride home, which was a long one, I think we deleted a lot of those. I have every other Super Bowl but that one, really. I mean, I have a few from that one, but not really. But I do have a lot of good pictures.
New Orleans is definitely number one. New York would be number 2.
New York was really good. It was more fun when we didn't have teams in. Although I will say, by Friday in Miami, your voice was a little scratchy. Miami was a good time.
I was fine for the game. I was fine after the night at the Clevelander in Miami.
The Clevelander was unbelievable. So Miami was cool. I got to give you credit. You were burning it on both ends in
that was a long
Miami.
I even did it before the Niners Super Bowl that I wasn't broadcasting. The night before the game, I just shut it down. That's Saturday, and you had to get up. So the ultimate night was the Friday night in New Orleans.
Right.
And that's the night when we were at dinner when Bucher said he was going to pay. I was like, what? What's wrong with you?
You're going to pay.
Okay, bring us 6 bottles of
That's what happened.
No, but then I got the text that the whale was coming in.
Oh, yeah.
My friend
the whole
Rustin
dinner. The whale. You have no idea. The whale.
Whale's epic. And if he's listening out there, we love Whale. I actually gave him my 2 Super Bowl tickets to he and his son. I got grief from my family for that. Like, what are you doing? Whale's going to enjoy the game more than me. And anyway, so when Whale came in, then it just never ended, and it rolled all night Friday night.
Yeah.
We wound up. What was the place when I did the Bourbon Cowboy bit?
That was
Griggs and Dennis.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were on. And then you were on the air the next morning with Low Neal.
Well, I'm trying to get low on this week.
58 that night. You were on the air at 8 a.m. Like, how'd you do that?
I'm trying to get low on the air because he had laryngitis. Remember, we ran into John Fina, the old Buffalo Bills tackle, and we were on Frenchman Street. We went off Bourbon and we went to Frenchman Street, and here he is with his 4 AFC Championship rings. We're like, those are
the loser rings. I'm like, take it easy, bro. This guy's gonna crush you.
He's like 6'7", 330.
I got 2 of those here anyway. I got 3 of them.
Exactly. So they're here somewhere.
I got 3 loser rings.
Oh, it was. I mean, the stories, Townie and that Saturday morning, and people following. Oh my God, people following us to the hotel. I mean, that was epic.
And then
so
New York was the Jonathan Libby Super Bowl. That's the one I remember about him.
Our producer, for those who know, our producer Jonathan Libby, he would just disappear. And so you go out at the Super Bowl and everybody's together, especially in New York City. There was so much to do. I got a lot of good New York City pictures I'm going to pop up here for you. But all of a sudden, our producer was just never there, and there was some weird speculation. Went to the Knicks and Celtics game, right?
Knicks Celtics.
Yeah, Knicks Celtics
for Madison Square Garden. It was so
yeah, and here let me pop up a couple of.
I lost one of these. I wasn't with the Niners back then, but I had 3 iPads.
That story is so unbelievable that most people would have cried and went into the room, but you lost a bag that basically had everything in your life in it.
I lost the bag, but I got the bag I wanted. I was going to see a guy named Budman in New York, and believe me, he wasn't giving me Budweiser.
Exactly.
When I got out of seeing him, they got in the cab. I left my backpack, whatever I had then, my briefcase, 3 iPads in it gone. But more importantly, all my Denver Bronco notes and all my Seahawks notes were gone forever. I remember going to precinct 16, and like every morning in New York, bringing those guys donuts. They're like, "Hey, Papa's here. Anybody find his iPad?"
Yeah, they'll laugh. Here, I got some good ones. I got some great ones from New York that will just pop your memory right up, and we can tell some good stories here. So, here's Alden. There, I found that one. Look at my hair there. That's good. That's a good looking picture of me. Don't know what your hair in that picture is outstanding.
That's almost like the John Unleashed on John Lund Unleashed. It looks very similar.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, that's a good hair day.
Let's go side by side with the hair. Very, very
in New York, we were like sardines. I mean, there you go. That was like sardine cans. But the best story that comes out of the Alden one is that was when he had the accelerator against the tree, and Jed let him play against Indy and all this kind of stuff. So his handler, I've told this to people, everybody's got a handler, and they sit him down and say the first thing he says is, "Don't ask him this." And what's the first thing you ask him?
Well, okay, the handlers, you know what? We're not going to the Super Bowl this year. One, because how the hell can I go to the Super Bowl without John? I mean, what would I do? Sit in my room, stay back and play pinochle? What am I going to do? But also the fact that the game's Kansas City, Philadelphia, I really don't.
Right, enough.
But
enough.
Radio Row, it's great because you get all these legends and people talking about the game, but then you get the handlers who are basically
They're
these
the
people
worst.
are there to promote a company, and they have some person with them that gives you the talking point, and they're like the producer of our show. They're like, I'm like, we'll run our own show. Go sit in the corner. When we want you on the air, we'll put you on the air. But these people just barge in the middle of a segment, and do you want to do mushrooms with Jake Plummer? Hell, I'll do that. But is that good radio?
Yeah, that was
Anyway,
different.
The Lund Smith woman is really in our face. I didn't have time to talk to him. Honestly, it was compassion. The guy hit a tree on a Friday morning before a game. He should have gone. Look, the 49ers played him. You know what? This is a hard business. You play them. I'm all in agreement with that. But the moment the season was over, let's check him into a rehab center. Let's try to get him cleaned up. Let's try. I was the only person looking out for the guy's safety.
No, you know what? I remember though him saying, because the handler was freaking out when you asked him, but what Alden said is, I remember. Right. Well, I remember him though. I remember him putting his hand up, going, "I'll handle it," and he was actually really, really good. And the picture that I put up there, that was actually after the interview, because Alden liked the fact that we allowed him to tell his side of the story, which is he said, I need to get rehab. Because if he doesn't do that, as you said, I remember many, many times, like Derek Jeter's girlfriend came on with us in the Super Bowl, and the first thing the handler said was, "Don't ask about Derek Jeter." We're like, well, what the hell are we going to talk to her about? So, of course, we did ask it, and it worked out fine. But I
you
remember
asked about
Alden,
the gift basket when she left Derek's apartment.
You asked about Alden, and he said, "Hey, I want to talk about it," and it ended up being fine. So that was a good one.
Honestly, in the Bay Area history, remember we had Charles Haley on at a golf tournament, right? And Charles cried to us.
That was
Charles
scary.
made the Hall of Fame with all the issues that he had, and whether he was bipolar, chemical imbalance. He didn't get the proper help until he retired. And how many Super Bowls the Niners had won had they kept Charles Haley and not sent him to Dallas? Alden Smith had 14 sacks as a rookie, 19 and a half in his second year in the NFL. He was going to be a superstar. He would have broken Bruce Smith's record. How much would they have won? It's just beyond me. And you see all these reports, they're living in this place in San Jose and what's going on there. Could somebody help this guy? And then we saw him with the Raiders later. He made Khalil Mack a defensive player of the year. He was still good that year. And then what happened? Did not play, suspended. Did not play, suspended. Did not play, suspended. He missed year after year after year. His career is over prematurely. I think he's straight now and he's not drinking. But why didn't anybody help him when he hit the tree that Friday before the Colts game? And why was he allowed to go directly to Radio Row?
That was wild.
Was Betty Ford. The whole thing was
I remember us asking him that. So here you go. By the way, I didn't show you the cover today. I do have the picture of you and Eddie D. There's me and you and Ronnie live.
All right.
The one picture there, and I'm going to pop this up. We always expected it to be the last Raiders game, so that was actually a Raiders game. There's Colonel Angus in the corner, which needs no explanation. There's Kyle Harrison there. That picture in the middle, right under Reunited. I got a good picture for you. Now, again, Greg Papa does a tremendous radio show from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. But this is a picture of you and I in 2011. Ignore the part of it, but that was the original premise.
Who's the guy next to me? Wow, is that Dan Dibley?
And they called it the Wheelhouse. So I come down here, right? I come down here in 2011, and our fearless leader, who is now the leader of this industry somehow, says to me, "Hey, you're either going to work with Rick Bucher or Mike Silver." This is in July of 2011. So I said, "Okay." Yeah. So I said, I'll come down there. Then he throws at me when I'm already living here in the city. He throws at me, "I'm going to do this concept of it's called the Wheelhouse. I'm going to throw Steinmetz and Michael Urban and Papa." And after about a couple of weeks, I went, "These other two guys, no offense to them, but they got to go." Like, clearly, this is the show. So could you convince Papa? I know he's a busy guy. He's got 1,000 things going on. He's got a bunch of kids, a bunch of wives, a bunch of jobs. And you just convince him.
I'm no Matt Barnes, though, John. I'm no Matt Barnes. I said, hump January.
I said, "Can you convince this guy to do the show on a regular basis?" They're throwing Kawakami in there. They're throwing. I mean, anybody who's got an off day, they're like, "Hey, want to do?" Yeah, I love him. but you want to do this show with this guy named Lund who nobody knows who he is. And
here
everyone's
we
like,
are,
no.
all these years later. You left me for a number of years.
Yeah, that's on
me. I had to jump across to reunite with you. We started that August the 1st of 2011. I did it like twice a week, maybe. And then the next year, my roles changed on TV, and I could do it, and it all worked just so perfectly. And then the next thing you know, I'm doing Monday through Friday talk radio, which I done 1 year in my life, like a long time ago, when Radnitz went to
on 1050.
Whatever.
Right? It was a Raiders.
It was during the NBA lockout one. Anyway, and then here I am. What year is it now? 2025. The last day of January of 2025. Matt Barnes could get one more woman before the end of the month. I think he may go 2 for 1 shot clock at the end.
Oh my God! But yeah, so that's how it worked, and I can still remember this. Levi's Stadium. I don't think it was open yet, but I was down there, of course, drinking with Chris Townsend, and we were getting ready to do something down there, and we're dotting I's and crossing T's, and you finally called up. I was sitting at a Bennigan's at a bar, as a matter of fact. And you said, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'll do this on the regular. Because what was cool about it was we were in a building at the time on Howard Street where you could walk right across the street and do TV. So even if you wanted to leave early or something, we could pre-tape something. And you were doing Giants at that time and Warriors. And so it was easy.
Show at 3 o'clock.
And you'd walk across the street.
3 then. I'd be on TV at 3:30. Never had to move my car.
Right.
I walked down, did a couple of shots, and went to work. It was like,
so it worked because you were right. You were luckily right across the street, so it ended up working out at that time. So
you're bringing back a lot of memories. I forgot about all these stuff.
Yeah, that's okay. So I have
we don't have any incriminating ones.
No, I don't. Here's one of my favorites. Now this is Super Bowl 50, so we're gonna jump around a little bit just because I want to pop this one up.
This is the one in Santa Clara. It's a home game.
Yeah, this is the one that's in Santa Clara. This is Super Bowl 50, but the reason I'm popping this up is because there's a story behind the person that I'm going to pop up here. So there's Dwight Clark. How about that? There's you and I and Dwight.
Wow.
And that is Super Bowl 50 right there. I'm not sure who's sitting by him there, but that's Super Bowl 50. And the reason I put that up there is Dwight was one of our first.
What was her name? Sean Weatherly? What was her name?
Yeah. So Dwight, and I'm sure he's telling the story right there, but one of our first guests, first of all, our first guest ever, I don't know why I remember this, was Bip Roberts, because at the time we carried the A's on 97.5 or 95.7, and that was there you go. You nailed it. And the line from Dwight was.
I'll never forget her.
So
a lot of people
I think Dwight
Foster posters over their bed.
Yeah.
I had Sean Weatherly
you with that
poster in my bed. Look at the hair on her.
So Dwight Clark is dating Miss Universe, and we do the second interview we ever do on the show with Dwight. And Dwight's famous line was what?
So he's told me this story like 3 different times. I think he once told us on a studio show. You know, they're having the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, whatever's left of the Am part of the Pro-Am. I go down there one year when the Niners were playing the Giants. They had like a 4-on-4, and Dwight was playing. And I went there specifically to do Chronicle Live after and have Dwight on. And he said, all right, I'll do the show, but there's one thing you got to do. You got to go in the lodge after and drink with me. I'm like, are you kidding me? Done.
Twist my arm for that.
Weatherly story. So there's a backdrop to this. I was at Super Bowl 16 when the 49ers played the Bengals. That's
right, in Pontiac, right. Yeah, you were there.
I drove from Syracuse. Sean McDonough and I were really close. We were roommates and worked together. And his dad, Will McDonough, a great sports writer for the Globe, the first one to go on TV on NBC, got us a job through the NFL. We drove from Syracuse in the snowstorm. I drove, of course. And we went up through Canada. And in Canada, you can go, not just 100, kilometers an hour. You can go, not 100 kilometers an hour. You go 100 miles per hour. So anyway, we pull in there. It's a snowstorm. So we get an assignment from the league. We're going to be on the field during Super Bowl 16. I was on the 49ers sideline. Sean was on the Bengals sideline. So Sean I didn't do anything the whole game. Sean got a call from the press box. Hey, Forrest Gregg thinks that it's too misty in here, foggy in here. I'm like, what are we going to do? Put the AC up higher? I got nothing. But I stood right below on the Niners sideline, like on the 33-yard line, right behind the bench. I was right next to Joe Montana's grandmother and Dwight Clark's girlfriend. who was Sean Weatherly. So I went over to chat.
The whole game.
I went up to chat with Joe's grandma, like every play. I'm like, look at how beautiful Joe's playing. Hey, what's your name, babe? So I knew who she was. We all knew who she was. With the pink coat.
Miss Universe.
Don't name it. He's dating Miss Universe. She's the hottest woman on earth. So I always asked him about her. And the classic line was, how did it go with Sean Weatherly? He said, in the beginning it was a really good relationship, but I kind of got tired. He goes, I wound up, dating her for 4 years, and I really the last 3.5. I just didn't like her that much. But what was I supposed to do? I looked at her every morning, and she was so effing hot. Can I actually use the word on this?
That was the line. That was the line.
Was so effing hot. He seemed like he's laughing. He's like,
it was so great the way he told the story.
Miss Universe? Who's going to be next? Miss Alabama?
Exactly. Miss Alabama.
Miss Universe. Miss Galaxy.
Yeah, what is he going to do?
What are you going to go?
So,
Miss Uranus? Where are you going next? I mean, who's next? So
that's why I pop it up there because there's Dwight.
Every time I think of him, I'm going to cry. I think of you all think of the catch and the great moments.
Right.
Think of she's so effing hot. I couldn't break up with her.
That was like the second guest we ever had on. Not there. That's Super Bowl 50 with us, but it was just he was so classic. It was such a great story. That have Dwight on. Let me see. I'm going to pop these up. I'm just randomly popping these up. I got a bunch of New York ones, but I'm going to pop this one up just because. This is a funny story. This was the most hungover I've ever been in my life.
Where are we?
Game.
Where is this game?
This is New England. This is the stopover before. You're doing Raiders here. This is the stopover between New England and.
Where'd you get this picture?
Somebody took it, and you're getting ready. We're probably an hour before the game, and that's at Foxborough. And I went out a little too late with a young lady that I had met.
I'm the one who gave you the Magic Johnson assist on that one.
You did give me the Magic Johnson assist.
You were James Worthy swooping in.
And then after the game, the greatness of that game was we go to that area. They stuck us in New England. We go under. They had lost to the Patriots and Brady, obviously. We walk underneath the stadium, and there's Tom and Jizzy, and they're waiting. And Lincoln screams at Tom. It was a fumble. And so Brady stops. Giselle stops. The kids are real young. And that was on the way to that area that they kept us where all the players could drink until we could get onto the plane to go to England to play the Dolphins, in which Dennis Allen got fired on that trip. I have a better picture of it a little bit later, but that was just so epic because some guy named 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐿 maybe was a little too overserved.
Well,
that was a fun trip.
That was the trip. We started in New England and went to Old England.
Yes.
And I remember about that trip.
Exactly right.
I don't remember what day we left on. It was probably a Friday to go to New England typically. John Lund showed up for the Raider charter 24 hours earlier.
Oh, that's right.
He showed up on Thursday. He worked flying till Friday. I'm waiting to do the show with John. And welcome to the Wheelhouse.
I thought we were leaving it Thursday.
John? He's at the airport. I'm like, we're not going to tomorrow. Why did he go there?
Well, what was funny was you show up. Here's what was so embarrassing about it was you show up at the facility. So I show up at the Raiders facility, which you and I we did that on I think Thursday we did the shows there. But I show up there dressed to go on a plane with a piece of luggage, and everybody's looking at me like, where are you going, pal? We're not leaving till tomorrow.
Just sleep here. It was so great. And then, how many stories did we tell on that one?
Here, I got the one. Here.
So it was after we lost to New England.
Yeah.
We had to wait a long time to fly to Washington.
We go into that place.
The Patriots gave us a place to stay at Gillette Stadium.
So cool.
And 𝐸𝐿𝐫𝐿𝐫𝐿 and Leckler just.
Right.
So
it was all the food.
we didn't make the flight. He's going to get mad at me for telling this. Scott Touche. The Raiders trainer, he still is.
But
it's the flight to England.
Yeah. That was 𝐸𝐿𝐫𝐿𝐫𝐿's fault.
Yeah, of course.
Because what they did was they gave us all the food and drink we could have, and all the players are there, and we're watching the afternoon games. And 𝐸𝐿𝐫𝐿𝐫𝐿 went a little too far, and I don't know who did this, but I was walking, behind everybody, and they said, "You watch 𝐸𝐿𝐫𝐿𝐫𝐿." I'm like, "Are you insane? You want me to watch 𝐸𝐿𝐫𝐿𝐫𝐿?"
Because you'll be at the bar with him drinking wine. You'll be fine.
They almost didn't let him on the plane because he had drank so much.
Touche missed the flight, And then the ultimate thing there, that was so our show was on at like 10 o'clock at night. Well, what time did we start? Like I would be out all day in England with my family and barely make the show.
Right.
But the classic one was middle of the week. And I think it was a Tuesday because the Raiders practiced Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I tried to be a practice. Anyway, George Atkinson and the late, great Cliff Branch are trying to get me to go from London to Amsterdam on the Tuesday off day. And this is when Amsterdam was Amsterdam. The whole world wasn't Amsterdam yet. So I'm like, whoa. So, but we already made a plan to take my daughter, surprise her, and fly her for her 21st birthday. She was on a trip. So we took her to Paris to go to Coco Chanel.
Because we had the one day. We had the one day we could do whatever.
I ended up. I was like, well, what do I do? This was the ultimate,
The angel and the devil. Yeah, the angel and the devil, right? Go to Amsterdam. Are you kidding? Go to Amsterdam. Don't go to Amsterdam. Take your daughter to Paris.
So remember we saw George and Cliff the Sunday of the game on the field, and they were.
I got the here. Watch this. Look at this. I have this. Look at that. That's what we're doing.
So that's before we left.
That's the day of the game, and that's at Wembley Stadium. That's in England. That's Wembley Stadium right there, and that's the day of the game. And George is telling stories about how you should have went to Amsterdam, and you're saying, no, I did the right thing. So that's right there is Wembley Stadium.
Way better than I remember. His eyes are actually open.
Yeah, but that was like 3 days later.
Him and Cliff on the field. I'm like, did you guys get double clotheslined by Jack Tatum? Like, what happened? They were like,
That was 3 days later. When they first came back, it was like, I remember seeing them on the practice field the next day, and it was like, look at these guys. They got crushed by a semi-truck.
I made the right call, but how epic would it have been to go to Amsterdam when the world was not all Amsterdam? With George Atkinson and the late, great Cliff Branch. Wow.
Oh, that would have been amazing. But yeah, that's Wembley Stadium right there. And you guys are and you're saying, I went to Paris. It was the right thing to do. George is saying you should have went to Amsterdam.
I don't know. It's like 15 years later, I wonder, was it the right thing to do?
Oh, it's classic. All right, let's see what else. I got a ton of stuff here, but I want it to be something where we could tell stories around it. Let me see. What is this one? Alden, I showed you. I got tons of them. You can't believe how much stuff. This is a great one. Now, this is New York. That's Costner right there. That's me, you, and Costner.
Wow.
And that's New York, and you can kind of
see day before he made draft day.
Exactly. I was telling people this the other day. So he comes on, and the only reason Costner comes on is because he's trying to promote Draft Day, which is an awful, awful movie. So this is New York. And what's funny here is, as you're intently listening to him, and you know this story, so I'm just going to lead it to you, and then you can take it from there. But we want to talk about movies. He wants to talk about OJ and Gary Beeman and the Heisman Trophy. So we're going movies. We're going movies. He's going sports, and it was just back and forth. It was hilarious.
Well, this is Kevin Costner, who's one of the great actors of our generation. But when you think of sports films, he's made some of the best. He's made some really bad ones, obviously.
Yeah.
Draft Day. I don't think I had seen it yet before this interview. I think it was coming.
That was a good thing.
It was brutal.
That was a good thing.
How many capologists look like her? I mean, come on. It's beyond Jennifer Gardner.
Well, I think what he kept doing,
he kept and Paul. Paul
he kept trying to get around it. He kept trying to. I know you knew the movie was going to suck because he kept trying to not talk about it. Because we kept saying, "Well, it sounds pretty cool," and he kept trying to get back to sports. And he's a big sports guy, so he wanted to talk everything sports.
Yeah, so honestly, I don't know how it came up. Why in the world would I bring up OJ? So they were in the Super Bowl. I don't know. Somehow it came up that OJ should have won back-to-back Heismans. Gary Beeman of UCLA got it in 67, and OJ got it in 68 before he was the first pick in the draft the next year to Buffalo. So, Archie Griffins won back-to-back in 74, 75, but OJ should have won back-to-back. But, in light of how OJ's life went later, maybe giving him a double Heisman before he became a double murderer wouldn't have been a good idea. But I don't remember. I remember liking, for some reason, I thought Costner was going to be a little like Nicolas Cage, where he's a thespian.
Right.
He wasn't like that. He is the scarf going, but I had scarves going back then.
Right. No, he was actually cool.
I thought he was cool. I genuinely, when he got up and walked away, we chatted. I was like, hang out longer. He easily could be doing what we do for a living.
Oh,
we could never do what he does for a living.
No.
But the guy loves sports, so it was great talking to him.
And speaking of handlers, I just remember he wanted to keep going. His handler kept giving us the rap. He was one of the best ones. I thought he was.
Is he the biggest
I thought he was
star
amazing.
we ever had on?
That's a great question. Because again, just
like
let
the time Eddie Vedder called our show and you about.
Oh, that was because of you, Kevin Youkilis. It was 2016, and it was the World Series in Wrigley, and Kevin Youkilis was working for the Cubs, and he said, I got somebody for you, and he threw Eddie Vedder on the phone, and then I turned into, what's the one Chris Farley character? Hey, remember that one time? You remember that one time? And Eddie Vedder's like, get me off the phone with this guy.
I was like, Eddie, and John had jumped in.
I love you.
Anyway,
I love
those are the two biggest stars we ever had on was Costner.
Yeah, Eddie Vedder and Kevin Costner for
Eddie
sure.
Eddie Vedder was pretty big.
I remember I looked at this picture, but I didn't put it in the collection for today. When we were doing Super Bowl 50 at Moscone Center, Ryan Reynolds was next to us, but we didn't have him on the show. So Ryan Reynolds would have been pretty cool. I don't know that he would have been a bigger star.
I don't even remember him being next to us. Wow.
I'll have to pop it back up here, but yeah, I had him.
Was he Ryan Reynolds yet? Was he that big?
Yeah, not to this extent. Definitely not to this extent. Here, I got so many good ones of these. Let's see. Hold on a second. Okay, real quick, just because I'm going to do some of these, I want to bring up some Niners stuff to you. But this was a funny one, just because
There's the scarf. I got the Costner.
Exactly, you had lots of scarves, but that was one of the many times that we thought the Raiders were done and they weren't. So we would take a ton of pictures at the end of every Raiders season because we thought, well, this is going to be it. And I remember that one just going, well, this is probably the final season. And every year we would do that. We would take a picture in front of something because we thought that was kind of going to be the final thing.
So what year
let's see.
was Charles Woodson's last game, and we had.
Yeah, that was Woodson's last year. This one, I don't know that there's a great story around this one, but I just saw this one with Ronnie. That was
good.
New York too. I think.
How old are you there? You old enough to drink?
Oh yeah, look at that. That's terrible.
See, now there, I can see the age difference between me and you. I look much older. You look much younger. Now,
not even a haircut.
It almost looked like you're older and I'm younger now.
I know. I've lived a lot, and it's pretty much your fault because I've lived the last 10 years.
For everything. All the
yeah, because I think the last.
He'd say, "I'm with Papa." Oh, God.
The last 10 years have been like 20. Oh, this is a good one. This is a really good one. There's Champ Kind.
Wham!
Whammy. That was a good interview.
I loved him.
What's his last name? David something or other. That was a good one.
Yeah.
David.
He's a great character. He was such a good sport, wasn't he?
Oh, he had so much fun. We had a ton of fun with him at Radio Row. Let's see. I got a bunch of other ones. Oh, this is a good one here. This will launch us into something. So this is Moscone Center. That's Eddie D and Jed York, and that's the year Eddie went in. So that was cool. And we got him that year, I remember. That was right before. Let's see, I think that was that Friday, right? Because then he went in that Saturday.
Yeah,
maybe it was a Thursday, but it was late in the week. I remember it was late in the week.
And look who's right there over our shoulder, the great Michael 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐽.
𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐽 is right there. I think the beard right there is one of your sons in the middle in the black shirt.
That's Derek.
Sons there.
One of my sons?
Derek. Yeah.
What do you think believe me, I'm no Matt Barnes yet. I'm no Matt Barnes.
But there is here. I can make this a lot easier on us. We can show us at the same time. Look at that fanciness. There's Eddie D right there. That was before he went into the Hall of Fame there. So that's a good one. That's a great picture right there. Get us back on the screen here if I can do that.
We had Eddie on a couple of times, and when he was a finalist to get in and he didn't make it.
Yeah.
So it was so great. We kind of had a feel that he was going to get in right then. But that was Hall of Famers all around us with Eddie and the great Michael 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐽. By the way, I was at an event, Tony La Russa's event, Saturday in Walnut Creek.
A friend of mine told me that.
Billy Bob.
Come on.
𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐽. It was
that was Saturday night?
Saturday night, and Billy Bob was so amazing. We chatted for 20, 30 minutes. He was so cool. He went out afterwards, Anyway, I told Billy Bob when they do the life story of Michael 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐽, Z-Man, Billy Bob, he doesn't even have to act.
What a great
picture. Billy Bob being Michael 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐽. Unbelievable.
That is an amazing. So I get this. It's funny that you bring that up. A lawyer friend calls me on, I don't know, all the days run together when you don't have to go anywhere. But on Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday, a good friend of mine who's a lawyer calls me up and she says, I saw Greg Papa at the Tony Lewis event, her company or her firm. She's a part of this firm, and they donate a lot and they work with Tony a lot. And she said, well, I saw Greg Papa there. And I said, well, why didn't you go up to him? And she said, well, he looked like he was talking to a lot of people. I said, he's the most approachable guy when he's drinking that you could ever go up to. So I said,
what does that mean? When I'm not drinking, I'm not.
Well, when you're not drinking, it's kind of like he might be busy and he might be looking at some sports stuff, or he might want to back off.
One of my 3 iPads. By the way, I'm going to try something technologically weird here. So you know my one iPad never can carry juice, the big one that I'm on now. It's down to 5%. If I switch to the other smaller iPad in midstream, can you pop me up on that one?
Actually, I can. I can see you. See, I've got a green room here.
Over here.
Watch this.
How do you switch it?
Just flip to the other one, and I'll.
Camera 2.
Yeah, watch this. Yeah, this is going to be exciting. Watch this. I'm going to remove you, and look at that. Yeah, I hold on a second. I'm getting the feedback here. Let me take you off. I'm going to take you. There you go. There you go. Look at that. Look how good.
I can't hear you. Hold on.
You can't hear me?
I can't hear you.
Hang on. Your mic is on. Look at John? We had this thing going so well.
Hold on.
We'll get you back.
But I got 3. I got one here. I got one here. These are all the ones I lost in New York before the Super Bowl. I got them all back.
But I tell you, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I got you.
Okay. Most people would have just gone under a rock. You did not. It was amazing. Let me throw a couple of more out here. I got a couple of good things. You just tell me when you got to go, because I'm not any kind of schedule whatsoever.
59.
Let's see. Oh, I told this
I used to wait for John's show notes to tell us what was going on. Now I have no idea.
I do the same thing. Here, this is a great one.
Send them to me anyway, even though you're not on. I need them.
So I was telling this story the other day to people that when we went to a family room during training camp and all the guys would come over, but I told them a story the other day. The toddler room. So we would do that every year, but for a couple of years they would put us in the room next to the draft. So the room adjacent to the draft room.
The John McVay draft room?
Yeah. And they would just have guys come up there for us. And I was telling the story the other day that Jimmy Garoppolo came out, like every guy would come off the field and they look terrible and they're sweating and their face is red and everything. And we had video set up, and back in that day, they didn't do as much, but Jimmy's coming upstairs. So, of course they do. And this is one of the funniest things, because it was like Jimmy takes his helmet off in the room and it's like this Italian skin is sun-kissed and he's not sweating and his hair is perfect. And so I moved across the room so I could get away from him. I didn't want to sit by him. And so this is that picture. That's me, me and you. And look, I got out of the video because that's Jimmy right off the practice field. And I was like, everybody else comes upstairs and they got a red face and they look like they're going to die. And that's Jimmy off the practice field. Just takes his helmet off, takes his pads off, and he looks like he's a supermodel. And I was like, get me out of the picture. So I got myself out of the video there. And there's you sitting next to Jimmy.
That Jimmy never looked bad. The hair's perfect. He does not.
But that's off the practice field,
looks
Jimmy.
Amazing. And who would have thought? See the behind you were watching the NFL Network.
Yeah.
What does it say? Bill Belichick wired with. Who would have thought that Belichick would have a younger woman than Jimmy Garoppolo all these years later? But Jimmy Garoppolo is incredible. You know what? Even though he's no longer a 49er, John.
Yeah.
He has never quite left me.
Let me see.
When I go to bed every night.
Okay, so I got something for you. I'm glad you brought that up.
He's too tall. Wait a minute.
I can only see his groinal region.
Which part of Jimmy do you want to see?
I can only see his groinal region, to be honest with you. That's all I can see.
Let me see here. Hold on. I'm coming down lower.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, too tight.
You have a cutout of Jimmy just sitting around?
I do.
So
I
get
sleep
this.
with it every night, John.
You know what's so funny about you doing that? So the other day, Lainey, my lovely wife, as you know,
it's too tight.
Jesus, that thing is gigantic.
Stay over here, Jim.
So Lainey, the other day, we're cleaning out the studio that I'm in, and I said, okay, there it is. Yeah, because we just saw his groin. Wait till you go back and you watch it. I'll send you this.
So
See,
the
that's a good
funniest part
picture.
of it, so I bought him and a Nick Bosa. In the car when I was coming back from practice, Nick Bosa's, he wound up on the highway. I couldn't get him through.
Oh.
So Jimmy, in the car, I couldn't fit it up. It's like
So you decided to keep Jimmy over Nick.
Jimmy's head was out the window.
Seriously.
So as I'm driving back from Santa Clara, you can see Jimmy's head flapping a little bit. Look.
Oh my! Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, the head's a little loose.
I almost decapitated Jimmy. So what part of Jimmy do you want to save?
Well, clearly the groinal region is what we were seeing there. We weren't seeing anything but the groin.
Or do you want Jimmy Garoppolo glistening? So luckily I saved.
No, but let me throw that up there one more time. This is off the practice field. It was like, get me away from that guy. I don't want to be in the same picture of that guy.
Yeah,
Jesus.
And he doesn't have helmet head. How do you
nothing.
2 hours in a
Just
sweaty
nothing.
So
get this. It's
Best
so funny.
person I've ever been in a room.
No
with.
question.
Man or female or anything. Jimmy Garoppolo's in his day. He's getting a little older now.
Right. He's got the gray going.
Got gray.
But so in the studio here, she said, I just want one thing. And she actually went to an auction, Laney, and she bought like a $500 framed autograph picture of Jimmy, which I have right here.
So you got Jimmy right next to you.
Yeah, look.
See?
And the thing that's funny about it is I can't here. Let me see. I can't give the damn
right behind you.
I can't give the damn thing away. Like I told that,
what? I'll buy it. I'll buy it. What do you want for it?
Niner fans. No, I said I'll just give it away. Niner fans.
I want it.
Every day, we talk Niners every day. And so I'm like, somebody can just have it and nobody wants it.
Of the 14, 15 years, whatever it was we were together, who do you think we talked about the most of anybody? Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Garoppolo. I mean, we talked about.
If we did top 5, I'd say Curry. I don't know who on the Giants, not as much, maybe Buster or something, but yeah, Jimmy and Steph for sure. Steph would be number one.
Steph, Clay, Dre, and Jimmy.
I mean, Jimmy was probably okay.
Brock's
been pretty strong the last couple of years, but I mean, after Steph, Jimmy, I don't think there's a question. Let's see. I still have some really good ones here. Let me get a couple more up here just because these are great. Costner already showed. That one already showed. That one, Eddie D already got. Jimmy, I just showed. Harlan was always a good one. Let's see. That was you and him. That's Arizona. That's you and him in Arizona, I think. Yeah, that's early in the week.
We just had him on the show last week. He's going to do like his 15th consecutive Super Bowl on Westwood One.
He calls it every year, right? You're having a good hair day that day, by the way. That's a good hair day.
The headset's going. So the thing about Arizona, was that our least favorite Super Bowl?
Yeah. Other than the only thing that was good about Arizona was they did that the media party out in the desert, which was pretty cool.
With Will Gavin.
Yeah, Will Gavin and the cigars. Remember we had the cigars out there?
Yeah.
That was the only good thing about Arizona. Other than that wasn't a great Super Bowl.
Well, just look at the room. You're in a huge, convention center kind of room.
It had to be early in the week.
New York was in this tight ballroom. It felt like a New York hotel.
Yeah.
You open up the door and you're right out the window.
That was a sardine can.
That felt like New York, though, and it's New York. In Arizona, it's set up well, but it's just not the same. And
no.
Then, look who played in that game just 2 years ago, and they're going to play in the game coming up a week from Sunday. We got to deal with them again.
I was telling that story when we were in New York. They put us up against that wall, and it was Seattle and Denver. And you and I had to stare at a mural of Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson the whole damn week. It was like, come on, man. Like, stop.
Remember that? You had a picture of us and Shannon Sharp. Remember the?
Yes, was that Arizona? That was the first Arizona one, though.
It wasn't in New York.
Yeah, I think we had him in New York too. Oh, maybe I'm confused it with Warren Sapp because Warren Sapp was the first Arizona. That was the first Arizona, not that last one, but that was our first one.
So he comes in, and I know Warren. He and I have an interesting relationship. Was that the day before the night of?
Yeah.
That he gets arrested. Wasn't it that night?
Yeah, it was that night. So we had him on the show. This is the Arizona Super Bowl, which featured Seattle and New England. The one where, Malcolm Butler knocks the ball away and Browner jams the receiver and all that, a curse. So that was the first Arizona Super Bowl, and that's the one you're talking about. So we had Sapp on like the Friday or something, or the Thursday.
I think it was Wednesday. He got arrested.
Or maybe, night. That's right. And then that night he comes on our show, and then you probably like prayed to the gods to have him arrested because of prostitution because you guys didn't get along, and then
we're gonna put $10,000 on the table and I'll get naked.
Yeah, that's what did he? What did he do? He didn't pay him or something like that. It's like, dude.
Warren and I actually we constantly fought whenever we were together.
Al fired him in the preseason, right? Like you guys worked together, what, one game?
So as a Raider player, his first year as a Raider was terrible. He got hurt right away, and I remember him just disrespecting Jim Plunkett, a bunch of people, and I pushed back. The second year, he had a really good year. He was one of those guys that during practice, he just never. George Kittle has a lot of energy during practice, but it's always so. Warren's just like, he can't block me, and he's yelling at everybody. He's always talking. He's like doing play-by-play to me the whole game. I'm like, how do you rush the quarterback like that and never shut the F up? He never shuts up. So we had an interesting relationship. So Al one year, when I was doing radio and TV preseason games, calls me and said, I'm going to hire Sapp to do TV, but you got to control him.
And you're
like, what?
Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, what are you talking about? I can't control. No one can. Warren Sapp. The only way to control him is to remove his larynx. He's not going to be controlled. Isn't that what you want? So he hired him. Honestly, he hired him on a Friday. Saturday they have like a Tampa Bay Buccaneers reunion. Right. He goes on there and rips Al up and down. Al fired him by Saturday night. Yeah. It was like, at least Lance Kiffin lasted a year plus. That was like, what was that? So Warren Sapp was classic.
Oh, that was classic. I got a couple of more here, and then we'll hit some other things up. Here is, let's see, I played Dwight. This was cool because I remember this was right before kickoff last year in Vegas, and I loved last year in Vegas except for the result of the game. I thought Vegas did a nice job. But that's you, Tim, and Harlan right there. That's right before kickoff of the Super Bowl last year. That was in Vegas. And that was cool. Because they were in the booth right next to us. So Edoes Westwood won the national broadcast on the radio. That's you and Tim getting ready to do the call of the Super Bowl last year in Vegas, and Harlan was in the booth right next to us. So that was pretty cool.
Tim still got the man bun going. Have you seen Tim lately? Tim cut his hair late in the year.
What? He
cut
did?
His hair. I got a picture of it. Let me find it.
Hold on, let me get this off the screen
Tim
then if that's happening.
The hair from the day of the NFC Championship game in L.A. J.K.𝐸𝐧'𝐭 Tart drop and the 2nd and 1 and the 3rd and 2 stuff. And so he grew his hair from that point.
Said he wasn't going to cut it, right?
For years. And then when the Niners, the thing was he was going to grow his hair out until we partied with Lombardi. And the whole thing was...
That was the whole thing, yeah, I remember.
We were going to have George Kittle cut his hair and do it in the locker room, or maybe at the parade we were going to do it. We had it all planned out for a long time to do it. And they obviously, that day, if we won the Super Bowl. So Tim Ryan, this is your guy now, John. Where is it? Over there. There it is.
Come on.
I come up behind him. Look at the back, by the way.
Did he tell you he was going to do it?
He looks like Travolta. I come up behind him. I got to find pictures of him with the long hair.
Hold on, I got to pull something up here.
And then this is how he looks now. Look at how, he's a good looking man. We did I got to find one from Minnesota. So we did, when we played the Vikings in the preseason, Brock's rookie year, at the end of the broadcast, I said, and he had the big man bun on, and his hair went down to his back.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
I said, let's literally let our hair down. The preseason's over. It's on to the year. So he undoes the man bun, and it was a, what do they call it? A fountain of follicles. And it was like, so remember we had the Tim Ryan, Greg Papa hair off? On Monday, we did like a competition on the poll. I think I won like 50.1 to 49.9 or something. But yeah. Tim,
that was a great poll.
Yeah.
I might have been our best one.
He's cut his hair though. He looks very distinguished now.
I'm putting up. Hold on, I'm grabbing something here. I'm trying to multitask here because I just found 2 really good pictures that I got to add to our collection here really quickly. See if I can do this at the same time.
We're like an old married couple showing the.
No, I got a great one because this is going to be and basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm getting the pictures up so that we can tell stories. I mean, it's just basically story time, and I'm trying to get these these going, but this one is a Miami picture, and I have tons of Miami pictures, but this one will just kind of lead us down a road.
Super Bowl 54.
Yeah, that was I will say that as I looked through those pictures, that was a fun week too. I think it was underrated.
Oh my God. That was the Clevelander on the Tuesday. That was,
well, and you did people don't realize that you were doing TV at night and you were doing our show during the day, and you're trying to, go to practices and do all the stuff you got to do for your actual job with the 49ers. And I mean, it was just
Miami. I'll sleep when I'm dead. So the Tuesday night before the game,
that was an insane
week. KNBR, the whole staff from KNBR was there, and the whole staff from NBC Sports Bay Area was there. And I didn't plan it. I'm not going to send out an invite to come by. It was just, hey, we're all here. Let's drink.
Exactly. That's what it was.
It was Jeff Schwartz, right?
Yep, the former Giants offensive lineman. Yep.
Brought the cigars, and we were at the Clevelander right on South Beach, and I just pulled out the red credit card.
Oh,
and
that was dangerous.
We just hit it. I got some classic pictures even going back then. The funniest thing ever was Devin Fox, who still runs.
She saved your
NBC
butt.
Sports Bay Area. She comes up to me and goes, "There's people charging drinks on your card. We don't know who." She's like getting in their face. "Who the F are you? Get out!" So she's like, "I'm pulling the card." I'm like, "You can't pull the card. John's not done drinking yet."
It was well, because it was like the Underhill account. It was like, what's going on with the Underhill account?
I'll have the steak martini and the steak martini.
Let's see. Let me throw.
Do you have Miami pictures? I want to see.
Yeah. Well, this one's not transferring over, so I'm just going to put this in front of the camera just because this is such a hilarious picture. But this is you. Remember those? Remember those
carts that we drove?
Yeah, those they were the Griffin brothers, and they were playing in Seattle at that time. And you and I were racing these things across the carpet at the Super Bowl at Radio Row, running people over. And so each of us had one like a child.
Yeah, that's great.
Because they put us right by the door.
We were all hyped up on Mountain Dew.
Yeah, they that's what they were promoting. And so because we were the flagship of one of the teams that were in the Super Bowl, they put us right by the entrance of Radio Row. And the Griffin brothers were in there, and we were racing those things around. A couple more quick ones. What was this phase right here? What's that phase right there? That's 1050, right? Wasn't that 1050?
I didn't know you then. I didn't know.
Yeah,
you then.
but I do know that's like you got a little devilish look going there. The hair's solid, a little longer. Yeah, and you got the goatee. So that was 1050 days though, right? Was that Raiders Radio? Was that what that was?
It may have been either. How far back? There was a time I did talk radio. You know what that was? I did the noon to 3 or whatever. I did Radnich's slot.
Yeah.
When Gary went to mornings, I did Radnich's, but I only did it. It wound up being for a month because I did it just during the NBA lockout that year. So what was that? The Spurs won the championship that year, my second year in San Antonio. So I think it was probably like January of '99.
Right. Probably.
And that was my ode. I was doing the A's then. And Mac was gone, right? Mac was already in St. Louis, Mark McGuire.
Yeah.
But everybody in baseball had a goat. So I grew a goatee in honor of the great 𝐬𝐿_Ginats, I think. The only time I've ever had facial hair. And I thought what it would be, I hated shaving, and I still do. I don't shave every day anymore. No,
right.
You don't have to anymore. We used to have to wear ties and all that back then.
Right.
Anyway, I just thought, well, if I grow a goatee, what I really liked was a Fu Manchu. In the 70s, those were really cool.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Joe Willie had the Fu. Where it was
Joe, his was the best.
For some reason, it didn't look good. So I did the goatee thinking, well, that's just less surface area that I have to shave every day.
Exactly.
It's going to be less time. The reality, look at that. Put that picture back up and how scraggly
I don't know. I just had this in my phone randomly. I have no,
scraggly. Actually, that's kind of not bad lines.
No, plus you got the wavy hair going there.
It got all scraggly. You wind up spending more time shaving because you have to trim around the beard. So like, this is not what I wanted it for.
He wanted less, not more.
So
then
I think that's the only time in my life I actually had facial hair.
And then this was your favorite of all time. This one still sits in the park there. That's a good one. Wow. That's a really good one there.
Dwayne Kuiper loves that one. You are so mean.
That's the one from. That's the one that's right. Is that still at Oracle Park? That picture.
The wall of all the announcers.
Jeez.
So you go back to the one in '99. That was pre-hair product days.
This is.
And I don't think. Maybe not. I don't know.
You got something in there.
In fact, people, contrary to what you said every day on the show, I was not this generation's Joe Pepitone. I did not use a blow dryer ever.
Really?
I didn't know how to use one. I wanted to get in and out. I
Right.
did the, you know how I am. I'm doing 3 days.
Right.
I'm not going to blow. I don't think I didn't know how to do it. I didn't like it. It looked too poofy.
Right.
I remember my brother got a perm one year. And I was like, well, dude, what are you doing? I'm not doing that. So I never, we didn't have hair products. We didn't have, what was the one back in the day? A little dab will do you.
Oh yeah, Brill cream.
The green stuff. I mean,
yeah,
it was
the Brill
always
cream.
Like plaster and everything.
Yeah, that's
so
no
I didn't
good.
Know,
Can't do
I didn't
that.
know how to use hair product at all. So the picture that Kite loves, he takes a picture of. I saw Kite the other day.
He's the best.
He
isn't
loves
he?
it. So it's
He
that is
loves
easily.
this
I think
he
that
loves
was
it.
my first foray into hair product, hair gel, and I effed it up. It's just,
every time I walk in there, because that's right next to their booth at Oracle Park. I just walk by it and laugh, and I show
how
my
many times
kid.
I've tried to grab it off the wall?
Oh, I know.
And I thought,
that's
that's
your least favorite
They'll
picture.
think it was like David Glass's pictures of the.
Oh, so I got lots more. We don't have time to do all of them. The one is, and this will lead us into an actual sports conversation, and this was a cool one. So this picture it's at training camp, and this is, I think, before the 2019 season, because obviously they go to the Super Bowl that year, but we had taken a picture, you and I, of the trophies, and that was training camps behind us there. So we're right up the stairs, and we actually, as I said, where we showed Jimmy looking so good after camp. So there's stairs behind us, and then you walk straight, and there's the room where we used to broadcast from during training camp. And you would always go, can't we just broadcast from the field? So
for the Raiders, we did.
You would run down during breaks, and you'd watch training camp, and then whoever our producer was at the time would yell out you on the field, "Hey, we're coming back!" And
well,
come back.
Don't you think? I think that was my first year doing the Niners game.
That's 2019 right there. Yeah, that's 2019.
Training camp practice. It may be helpful for me.
Yeah,
and we did our Raiders shows from Napa during.
They were great.
We were literally on the field watching practice.
Yeah, that was great. They would literally put us in this little thing with a small little white picket fence in front of us, and we could sit there and watch everything. And then they put us in a corner. I remember we had that punter on one time. I can't remember his name, and the players would walk right by us, so we'd get tons of guys on with the Raiders. So that was really cool. It wasn't Leckler, it was after Leckler. They had a funny punter.
Marquette King.
Yeah, that guy. We had Marquette King on, and he was always
really
wanting to come on, and he was funny. But yeah, they wouldn't. The Niners didn't do that, but that was right before. That was 2019. So that was before you would broadcast your first game as the voice of the Niners.
So when are they going to get that 6th Lombardi?
So that's why I brought it up. So there's a trip down memory lane, which is what I wanted to basically do today, and do that.
So good.
But in terms of, what they've done this offseason, your thoughts? So they bring in a new DC, they bring in a new special teams guy. Looks like 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭 may be the offensive coordinator there. They've made a lot of moves. So I haven't talked to you even off the air about this.
Well,
so what do you think?
I mean, you were with me when Saga we had Saga on the show a bunch of times. When
he was great to us when he was with the Jets. It was cool.
Yeah, he actually the first week, I don't know if I told you the story, the first season opener, he had somebody at Florham Park, the Jets facility, listen to our show every day, 4 hours a day, to hear what we were saying, because he knew he told Kyle, I knew you guys were going to run the ball, but after I heard Papa's show, I knew you were going to run the ball. I'm like, you knew you were going to run the ball because you can't stop the run,
right?
And it didn't help you because we didn't have Christian McCaffrey that night, and J.P. Mason still ran all over you. So anyway, as soon as Salah got let go in New York, I think that's the first thing you and I talked about the next day is when's he coming back. And Tim Ryan and Salah are best friends. They still are.
They're still tight to this day,
all
right?
The time. I was, when he went to Green Bay in the season as an offensive consultant to Matt LaFleur, it was like, what's he doing that for? They paid him like $50,000, and it expired. But anyway, when he was fully available and their season ended and he was up for some head coaching jobs, I thought, is he going to get hired in Jacksonville or Raiders, Dallas? I'm not sure I'd hired him this cycle. Anyway, he was the natural fit to bring back in so many ways. The scheme, being with Kyle from the inception of this, being able to stand up and tell Kyle, no, we don't want to do it that way. We're going to do it this way. And just, you want as many great minds in there to think tank. And then if you're to ask the guys in the locker room, who do you want to be your DC, Fred Warner? Who do you think he would say?
Absolutely.
Holla,
100%.
And then Nick, and then, Dre Greenlaw, Robert raised all these guys. He was there when they drafted Warner and Nick and Dre, and he raised them all. So anyway, it's a natural fit. I think Bobby Slowick is a name that, has he been hired by anybody?
No.
How odd that he got fired in Houston. I mean, that guy was up for head coaching jobs, and their season, they slid back a little bit, but they won their division again. They won a playoff game again. They basically were the same as they were last year. I know the quarterback's numbers were down a little bit, but what happened there? Well, that's a good football coach who was on Kyle's staff before. Is there a way to bring Bobby Slowick back? I don't know. I think all the coordinator jobs are just about done. Kellen Moore is going to be the head coach in New Orleans, so
right.
I guess you can
That's
bring
the
him
last
there.
one.
That's the last one. So I'd like to see Bobby Slowick come back. But, with Clay, he's sharp, whether they could do it like they did with LaFleur and McDaniel and Coet, have two offensive coordinators and give them something else. Anyway, and then Brant Boyer's the special teams coordinator. I don't know him personally. I reached out to a lot of
Did you hear what
people
McAfee said about him? I mean, he just raved and raved and raved.
Yeah.
He thinks
the
he's
guy
going to
that
be
I
great.
wanted was Bones Fossil. I think that would have
That
been
mean you both? What did that? I've never gotten an answer to this. So he's out in Dallas, obviously with McCarthy's group, and then all of a sudden he goes to Tennessee. Was there ever a call made, as far as you knew?
No, his agent is Bob Lamont, and I checked in with him right away. And I don't think the Niners reached out to him. Maybe they did, but it never got beyond the what's up stage. And then he went to Tennessee that Friday.
Right.
Interviewed with those people and wound up, I think, by Sunday agreeing to the job. He's probably a little too out there. I mean, Bones I think he'd be great with Jake Moody, just the energy. I mean, he's up with people. He's running stairs before the game. He's got the wristbands on, like, during practice, like Dusty, and during the game. And he's got the whistle, and he's energy. But he's also a very positive guy. He's just you're going to make that next kick. Let's go. It's not the guy's going to yell at you if you miss it. So I thought he'd be good for a lot of reasons, but I don't think they ever went there. I don't know Boyer at all. I did get a scouting report from him, from people in New York, and even Bones Fossil said, how good he thought he was, how sound his teams were. And I think the key thing there is Saleh knows him. Obviously he was with the Jets for two prior head coaches, but he was with Saleh most recently. And defense and special teams are most closely aligned based on personnel and game management. Offense, defense, special teams all go together, but it made sense. So I'm looking forward to meeting him. But now we just got to go into the offseason and see what they want to do before. We're going to the Combine for the first time ever. We're not going to the Super Bowl with a show. I've never been. I used to live in Indianapolis.
Right.
As when I first got out of college, my first couple of years.
You hung out at the Angry Beaver.
I know a lot of Angry Beavers in there. And I actually been to that bar a few times. So, wow, why'd you remind me of that? You got to make this trip. Come to the Combine with me. Anyway, you and I.
Well, no, I mean, you'll go to You'll go to St. Elmo's. You'll have some,
I went to St. Elmo's like once when I lived there.
You weren't a big fan.
Elmo's, the big open room feels like you're in New York. So
no, you know what? You and I talked about it for years. I mean, the Super Bowl was great. And we had a lot of fun, but especially with the Niners picking 11th, I think it's a huge thing. And what I've been saying over the last number of days that we're kind of starting to delve into this thing is, there's a lot of good defensive linemen. I think that, the Niners aren't a team with Chris Forster that are maybe going to go O-line like a lot of the early projections are saying, but there's a lot of good interior D linemen in this draft. And so what I'm seeing early is maybe that's the direction. They're not going to lock in, but 11, they could get a really good interior defensive line.
Here's the other side of it. And you always bring this up every single year. Quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of great quarterbacks. Last year, you had Caleb, you had Jaden McDaniels, you had Drake, and later on you could get, Michael Penix or Bo Nix. I mean, there were good quarterbacks that went off the board early. What was it, 6 in the first 12 or whatever it was?
It was a good QB draft.
And then J.J. McCarthy, they were all solid. I don't know. I haven't watched enough. I'll start watching after the Super Bowl. But quarterbacks do go artificially high. And like this Tennessee with their new general manager coming from Kansas City. Does he take a quarterback number 1? I mean, look at the top 3 picks in the draft, John. It could go 1, 2, 3, but I don't know if are there 3 first-round quarterbacks this year? So then you get into that game where they overreach for quarterbacks, and now some really good players may fall into the Niners' lap at 11. Or if a quarterback's out there, like this year's version of Bo Nix someone wants to trade up and take that player at 11, I could see John trading back. And can you get in the back end and maybe take a couple of ones there and not just the 11th pick?
Well, and I was trying to scroll here to find a picture. We had the Deion Sanders picture back in the New York Super Bowl, but I don't want to be in the Shedeur business. I don't like Shedeur Sanders. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a good kid. He's driving around a Rolls Royce Ghost on campus. And Cam Ward played at Washington State for a number of years, and I don't remember anybody ever saying he was going to be the first pick in the draft. So I don't like any of the quarterbacks, but I'm with you. Hopefully somebody gets desperate enough because they're going to be gone in the top 3. I don't think Tennessee should take one, but they probably will.
You think they're going to go 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks?
Well, I think that they'll probably go 1 and 3 and maybe 2 trades. I don't think Cleveland's going to take one, but at 3, the Giants probably will, and at 1, the Tennessee probably will. So I think those 2 will be gone in the first 3. And then, like you said, if somebody emerges from the group of quarterbacks, maybe someone will, artificially move up, and then they're sitting there at 11 and they say, hey, because you're right. I'd love it if the Niners could trade down, still get – this is a deep D-line class, get a couple of those guys, get some extra picks. I mean, I think that would be the way to go.
There's no question. They got to rebuild the line. When this team started winning 19 with Bosa, they got D Ford, they had Armstead and Buckner inside. You're a long way away from that kind of D-line. I mean, the end of the year last year, the Niners just got trampled. Yeah. They've got to, as Tim calls them, war daddies. Do you bring Hargrave back? They're going to release someone the new league year starts. Maybe go somewhere else. But he's more of a pocket pusher than he is a run player. You need both. But I think, DJ Jones, somebody you always talked about. He's free agent. Go get him.
That wouldn't be bad. We signed
Kevin Givens. Evan Anderson had a good year last year. Collins and Elliott are guys that can play in the rotation, whether they're alphas or Bravos, I don't know. They probably neither one should be in the turbo. Maybe Collins in the turbo, but really, you need more of them. This team's identity when Bosa got here was the gold rush, and it's not been that. By the way, did you watch the Pro Bowl skills competition last night of the Bosa brothers?
No, but I was going to ask you about it.
Waddle. They were supposed to sprint, and it was a relay.
Yeah.
They put the Bosas up against each other, and they do the Dave Waddle fast walk. It's like, what are they doing?
What are they doing? Just throwing stuff against the.
Oh, it's so hilarious the way they did it. It was so funny. You gotta watch. I love the Pro Bowl.
I know you do. That's. What's funny is I almost watched it last night because I knew I was going to talk to it, and I thought if I don't watch that stuff, I know he's going to bring it up, and I'm just oh man.
It's not even that. And George was funny. They had a spike competition on touchdown spikes after, and it's ridiculous. But Jared Goff can throw the football.
Oh, yeah.
He was amazing.
There's no doubt.
Anyway, and then, we had the East-West Shrine Bowl last night. My guy from Syracuse played quarterback, and we'll watch the Senior Bowl on Saturday. I know John and the staff are in Mobile. So,
yeah.
You got to come to the Combine with me, brother. I can't go.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that's something I wouldn't mind doing for sure. I don't know if I told you this, but so we're not going to be at the Super Bowl, but I have a correspondent next week, and if you want to use him, you're more than happy to. I'm his agent.
There?
Yeah, so George is going. He got a gig at the going back east, and he's going to go to the Cape Cod League and write and all that stuff. So he got a gig there and do play-by-play. And then this week, he's leaving on Sunday to go to New Orleans. And, of course, you and I have been to about 15 straight Super Bowls together, and he's actually going to go there. So he's going to be there with Arizona State. And so I said, well, you got to be our correspondent. So there you go. By the way, so I got a whole chat line in front of me. People are loving that you're here. Best 49ers play-by-play since Lon Simmons.
Wow.
Guy says, forgot you were the voice of the Spurs back then. People forget all this stuff. But, we're getting a lot of great love for you, man. So it's very cool. Very cool to see you. Let's see what else
Send me those pictures. All right, now that we've shown them, can we?
I got something that you can't show.
That file? Can we just say I want them all? I want them all.
I got a lot. Let me see what I got here. I got a lot that
Brown. I want that eliminated. I want a bunch of those.
You know what? Now that you mentioned frown on the Brown, just so that people know what we're talking about, if I called Chris Townsend right now, because that's his picture when I call him.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can pop this up. Yeah, I do. Look at this. You're gonna laugh at this.
The picture of the actual bar.
The guy in the street. The guy in the street. That's been his picture when he calls me. Oh, geez, I shouldn't show his number probably. Oh, no, it doesn't come up. That's been his picture for, I don't know, when was that Super Bowl? 2012, 2011. So like 14 years. And the guys holding the signs, "Don't frown on the Browns," standing outside that bar.
Remember what happened at the very end of that night? So I bought John a present at the end of the night. What was her name? Tiffany or Angel or Bambi?
Man.
And John ran. John's 40 time was, I think you broke 𝐬𝐵𝐿𝐫𝐿. I think he went 4.2 flat. And she's like, "What? He doesn't like me?" I was like, "Oh."
I just remember a Cadillac coming around the corner going, "Hey, walking with these ladies ain't free."
It was Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, he was like,
kidding.
We're like, "We're not even doing anything." He's like, "Doesn't matter.
Kidding.
Time is literally money. So someone here, and we don't take checks.
$300 an hour. I said, go make my bed.
Just to walk." It was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. That was unbelievable.
She said, $300, I'll do whatever you want. I said,
yeah, I was exactly. No, that's the only thing is it's good talking to you today because God, we did so many of those Super Bowls and they
ran away.
Oh geez, I was like, I gotta go. The worst part, and that's why I gotta get low on next week at some point, because the worst part of that Super Bowl was, and Alyssa Milano saved us, was that Saturday, because Jason Barrett, who's the overseer of the industry now, it decides that because he sends us to the Super Bowl, we got to work on Saturday too. And I'm hungover. Oh, it was terrible. And Lowe had laryngitis, and we're on Radio Row. There's no one there. My head's pounding. He's got laryngitis, and here comes the angel it is.
And he's giving Alyssa Milano the hey baby.
Oh, the Low on Love.
Remember me as a lead block?
Yeah, he did Low on Love for her.
We could tell Low stories for 10 minutes.
Oh my God,
Let's get crazy.
Oh,
we could tell all the championship Sunday parties. Oh my God.
You know what's funny about it is I live right around the corner. It's shut down now from that Buffalo Wild Wings we used to go to, where Kondo got kicked out, or his wife, depending.
Kondo's wife.
Well, that was because we followed. It was either tequila and then Jameson's, but Jameson's and tequila, whatever it was. But we were doing them back to back.
And fireballs.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So Kondo came one year. It was all great. And then at the end, he got a little overserved. So they threw him out.
I love that
term. Next year, his wife called, "I'm going to let John go, but only I'm going to come and supervise."
Right. Exactly. That year, was worse.
She got kicked out.
Yeah, she was even worse. You guys are made for each other. I got one story for him. I'll let you, because you got to go. It's 9:22, and I got to let you go here. But I have carried over one tradition here. Let me see if I got the open for it. And I kind of, here we go. I got one tradition. I'm going to show you something, because people went crazy over this the other day. So I got to play. Everyone's in the text room here is sitting there going, "You got to show Papa this. You got to show Papa this." So I'm going to play an open here. You might remember.
Brings you the caboose pistol.
A female officer noticed the handle of a revolver sticking out from inside the woman.
What is the caboose pistol?
Did you say caboose pistol? The old caboose pistol. Everybody has one.
What better way to end the show than with a "what the fuck was that"?
Oh, you can't say that.
What?
Say that.
What?
I know someone who could hide a machine gun in there.
So do I.
I'm sorry, we're getting off track.
Just take it away, Lund, and leave me out of this, you weirdo.
I'm just reporting the news. I'm not a weirdo. I'm just reporting the news. So this was the other day, and we got into this whole thing. There was actually a news story. Hopefully I kept the news story on this whole thing. Let's see. Oh, I took the video away, but let me show you this. You're going to get a kick out of this. Because when I played this the other day, the news reporter lady was like blushing and all this kind of stuff. This guy's got a 9.5 centimeter tongue, which is the largest. It's a Guinness Book of World Record. Look at that thing.
Oh, wow.
Look at that thing.
That's not a tongue.
Yeah, that's real. I looked it up.
That's
Byron Schlenker says has a tongue 9.5 centimeters wide. Consider the man with the world's widest tongue. Look at the smile on his wife's face.
Wow.
She's got a big smile on her face there. So we did that the other day. Look at that tongue.
What's
True story.
Buster?
Because, well, what happened was I got a video of it because I didn't believe it. I thought it was photoshopped, and so I was like, "This can't be right." And
well, his is wide, but Gene Simmons is long.
Yeah, long. So I don't know which one you would want. I remember seeing Gene Simmons at a Raiders game. Remember him and Shannon Tweed, and Gene did the anthem. He did the anthem. And I don't think I have time to pull this video up because you got places to go, people to see. So
you got Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He has good activity.
Was that Catherine Zeta and
you know
that whole thing?
You got to put that guy up with a side-by-side with 𝐶𝐿 𝐶𝐿.
I do, as a matter of fact. Let me see here. I probably have that. But anyway, yeah, I do have the video, but I won't bore you with it. But let me see here. I do have did I pop that up? Yeah, I did that a little bit earlier. There you go. That's one of our best ones. That's outstanding. That's one of our best ones that we ever did. But
Christopher Walken.
Yes, very good. I don't know if you saw the other day. Will Smith was on with Jimmy Fallon the other night, and he told the story of running into Walken at a like an Italian restaurant, and he said, "That's all anyone does is come up to me. I was having an Italian meal," and he says all the waiters and everything just come up to him and say, more cowbell. And he's like, I'm this accomplished actor, and that's all I get.
Uncomfortable piece of metal up
my ass. I almost put that in the pictures today just to bring it up.
Who was the guy we had at the old place that did Al Davis as Christopher Walken?
Drew Hoffer. Drew Hoffer.
We love Hoffer. Is he still out there?
He did the best. It was Al Davis, Christopher Walken, Al Davis, and he would
put
say
them together.
Yeah,
it's
just win, baby. I mean, it was unbelievable. Like, I can't even come close to doing it like he did it. I mean, it was just outstanding. All right, man. Look, I know you got stuff to do, people to see, places to go. I got tons of different pictures. I'll send you some good ones that we couldn't play on or couldn't show even on this show, which really there are no parameters on this show, but still, I try to keep it, a little bit on the up and up. But I appreciate your time. How's everything else? Everything else good?
Speaking of Al Davis, I'm working with a guy, Joey's out there in the Bay Area, that's making a doc on Al Davis. And look,
really?
Not show this. What do you think of that?
Oh my gosh. Who's playing Al?
Adam Sandler.
What?
Adam
Are you
Sandler.
serious?
Yeah, I probably shouldn't. He's going to get mad at me, so I'm going to take it down.
When did you start caring if people got mad at you?
I don't.
Wow.
Well, I don't want to blow up the Al doc. So
I got you.
So anyway, you're talking about Christopher Walken and Al.
Yeah.
Is that we got to get Adam
wow.
glasses?
So when I'm not asking you like exactly when, but like when, like is
recently, it's in production now.
So it's in production.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Well, we don't want to jinx it. So
I totally understand that. That's really good. I'm just making sure I don't have anything else.
My phone. Now I want all those pictures.
Oh, I got it. The thing that makes me mad is I couldn't find. I have all these different places that I keep stuff, and I couldn't find the majority of the New Orleans ones. So I gotta go back and find those. But that was a good trip down.
The New Orleans one.
Oh, that was outstanding. Yeah, I mean that was a pretty good trip down memory lane. We had some good.
And then we stayed over after they lost the game and did the show from Radio Row the next day.
The Monday. Yeah, that was terrible. Well, we had to do that last year.
Back to New Orleans.
Yeah.
They have not had a Super Bowl there since Super Bowl 47. You know what we had on the show last week, getting ready for the Bills championship game, with Steve Tasker.
Did you really?
Remember when the lights went out in the old dome in New Orleans?
And they just said, "Here you go, Steve. Good luck." I felt so bad for that guy.
He did.
We're sitting in there. It was unbelievable. Oh.
How long was the power outage during that game?
20 minutes. I mean, it was pretty long.
Long time.
I just remember it, and again, you got to go. There was a couple of things. One, we went to the Super Bowl. We went to the media day when they used to have the regular media day, not the Monday night thing. And Chris Berman was just sweating profusely, like he had just been out way too late. And then I remember they put the Niners. If people don't remember Super Bowl 47, they put them in the French Quarter, which was insane. And I just remember you going up to Alex Boone going, "Boone, I don't trust you, man. I don't trust you in the French Quarter."
Well, I couldn't. We stayed there. I couldn't sleep. All you hear is horns all night.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
I think they moved the team out of there.
They did on that Friday. They did on that Friday.
We were in Vegas with the Niners last year.
You guys were
we
way
stayed out in Hendo. We stayed in Henderson. I had to keep going back and forth. So.
That was crazy. That was a good time, though. But
I'm seeing the John Lund Unleashed behind you. Where's the pop in Lund? Did you?
Yeah, I have a. You know what?
Did you destroy that one, or is that?
No, I haven't. I archive everything. I pack rat everything.
I've got
all that.
Going night.
I got all that. Let's see what. Yeah, I have it somewhere around here. I have all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry. Yeah, it's good stuff. Sorry. All right. Like I said, so everything's good. Everybody's
good, right?
Okay. All right.
Everybody's good. I think we may go back to my buddy Brownie and all the crew from New York may go to Vegas for the Super Bowl. I don't know if we want to do that. So let me know what you're doing for the game if you want to get together. I mean, we want You want Philadelphia to win the game just so Kansas City doesn't? It's almost like a lesser evils.
I was having a doctoral procedure yesterday in which a guy was cutting on my ass, and that's why I'm sitting a little strange right now. But
how many colonoscopies do you have, John?
I know it's a million of them.
John and I are so close. A couple of years ago, we had matching colonoscopies
the same day. We didn't even try to. We didn't even try to.
I had Dr. Ripper.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't
Dr.
know if I
Sausage
want Dr.
Fingers
Ripper going in there, but she's the best. Anyway.
No, he was doing work, and they just want to talk sports all the time. You know how this is. So the guy's working on me, my bare ass, as all these nurses are staring at my bare ass yesterday, and they're all. So what do you think of the Super Bowl? I mean, I really hate Philly. I'm like, could you just get the work done, man? I don't want to talk about it. Just get the work done. Anyway, all right, man. Well, great to see you. Tons of great response here. People are loving having you on the show and everything else. So very cool. Very cool. Well, look, man, let's get together soon.
Yeah.
Love seeing your face. I love that you came with the Super Papa today. I love the hat. You look great.
That. Ask Papa anything. John Lund started that.
People love it. Plus, here's the other thing, too. As far as hats go, never seen you. You've become a real big hat guy.
Because of the stream.
Yeah, because you got to throw it every
day. 4
day.
hours a day, and
that's heck with that.
I'm off the treadmill. I had to give up my workout this morning.
Thank you, man.
This one is in honor.
I love that one.
Got it. I'm like, what is this for? This is the Bart Bridge people. This is for Pat Burrell.
That's so incredible. Yeah, we played the machine, didn't we? All right, look, you got to get ready for a show at 10 o'clock.
What do I got to do to get ready? I just did it.
Yeah, you just did. Well, I mean, I'll send you this. I'll send you everything. I'll send you the thing. We'll get back to it. But love you, brother. Good to see you. Haven't seen you forever. Say hello to everybody, and I will talk at you soon. Thanks for making the time for me.
Lund will live forever.
Absolutely. Love you. We'll talk to you soon. All right, brother. There you go. That is the great, and I do mean great, Greg Papa, joining us for the show today.